prepare to fall in love, hot dog. Vivian Flores. And I'm going to try to get this right. This is a very complicated story, but I spent a lot of time looking up stuff. I spent a lot of time looking at various articles, watching different videos. I was looking at tweet threads as they were going through, like when you click back and you look at the replies and everything. And that's the rabbit hole that I was trying to fall into, trying to keep up with conversations, because this is a story that was found within LA Lakers Twitter. Like Twitter has all these subsections, and a lot of people don't drift in to the other people's subsections, but within those subsections, it's an entire world.
White people Twitter.
Black people Twitter, white people Twitter, every kind of Twitter you can imagine. Wrestling Twitter is a thing. I'm sure hot dog Twitter is a big deal right now. It's just one guy complaining about everything.
I'm the king.
And then a bunch of other people telling him he sucks.
Shut up.
That's hot dog Twitter. Snowflake.
I got a lot of those.
But Lakers Twitter, I started to get fascinated with this story immediately because I love gossip in communities. I love stumbling on like Facebook message boards of local communities where like the neighbors are pissed at some random council member for doing something. Well, what you may not know is he's doing this. And I'm like, tell me more. Like, that's why when I go to parties, I don't like the beginning of them with the pleasantries, like adult parties, like cocktail parties or whatever. I don't like the beginning pleasantries.
Hi, how are you?
No, I hate that. Hate it. I like.
How's the wife?
Yeah, she's here. Go ask her. She's over there. I like when everybody's about 2 or 3 drinks in, and these are people that don't drink all that often, and they start to get off their chest what's really bothering them. That's when I get excited. So this fits into that. I drifted into Lakers Twitter to see what all the hubbub was about, and Vivian Flores was a co-host on this pretty notable Lakers fan podcast. So when I say notable podcast, it wasn't like, a top 10 charting, Spotify is going to sign it podcast, but within that sort of Lakers fan community, within that niche, this was the show. And she hosted it with this guy named Josh Toussaint. Now, apparently, Josh and Vivian, they meet online right after Kobe dies. And they start kind of messaging each other. I guess Vivian, who had she had 16,000 followers on Twitter. So that's a lot, for just somebody who's like a fan of a thing. That's a pretty strong representative of the Lakers. And I guess they were, from that same sort of fandom world, and they were DMing with each other and messaging each other. And Josh Toussaint had this podcast called The Lakers Point, which is not a great name, not the most creative name I've ever heard in the world. Like a little play on words wouldn't have hurt that much, I don't think. But so she starts doing it with him. Like she starts doing the podcast with him, right? Yeah, so they're partners now. They're podcast partners. But she tells him from the beginning, you got to know something. There are going to be times where I can't get to you because of my cancer. And you're like, oh. She's like, I got cancer. I'm one of these people who has cancer, and it's tough. It's a tough thing. You can see in this photo. There's a photo of Vivian with hair. There's a photo of Vivian without hair. And the reason she doesn't have hair is because of the cancer. Now, oddly, when your hair is removed via radiation, it's not like it gives you a buzz cut. Like there's no hair there. Like it's shiny. It's stone cold bald. It's not Triple H original haircut bald. It's Triple H today bald. Like it's bald. It's like Bic bald, not like Buzz bald. It's like my forehead bald, not my chin bald. You know what I mean? She's got buzz cut here, but still, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna?
Oh, it's a little stylish.
It could be stylish, right? And she could. Maybe she's one of those people like, maybe it just started to get thin, so she decided to shave it off. You're like, okay.
That's what Walter White had in season 2. He had a little buzz cut.
Right. Well, you know why? Because he didn't have cancer. His name was Bryan Cranston. He was an actor.
Oh.
Yeah, you were catfished, hot dog. Yeah, you were catfished. You were catfished by Walter White on AMC. So Yeah, they got you. So look, one day this week, actually, he's getting ready to do the podcast or whatever, and Josh gets a DM from Vivian's sister, which I guess isn't so insane because she said if anything were to ever happen to me unexpected, which is possible because of this cancer and everything, my sister will reach out to you. So the sister did reach out to him. But the sister didn't reach out to him to say, hey, Vivian Flores is dead from cancer. The sister reached out to him to say, have you seen Vivian? At this point, we find out that not only has Josh not seen Vivian recently, Josh has never actually seen Vivian in his life. He's seen photos of Vivian, as other people have, but unfortunately, as attractive as Vivian is, she's very shy. So she does not FaceTime or Skype or anything like that. There's no video communication between the two, Hot Dog.
Yeah, this is sounding, that season of 90 Day Fiance with the Russian girl, who, oh no, I can't see you because this and that. Sounding a lot like that.
Where David has to show up in the leather trench.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
I mean, it sounded like Williams too, right? Williams, like with all these muscles, just DMing Yolanda, like, you're the love of my life. My camera doesn't work on my phone. What can I tell you? And she's like, all right, Williams, I can buy it.
I buy that. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. So he's never seen her before, but he gets this message and he posts it. Vivian Flores at @butterfly_424 is missing. He writes, hey, Lakers family, is missing. 5'5", may or may not be wearing a wig because she's going through leukemia treatment. From Santa Monica, DM me if you have a lead or may see her. Love you all. Stay safe. Now, this ripples through the Lakers community. You know, Ice Cube's kid, O'Shea Jackson, Hot Dog?
Yeah, he was on the bump last week, post-WrestleMania.
Yes, exactly. He tweeted about it. Oh, my God, you're kidding me. We got to find Vivian. This is terrible. Lakers, like the official Lakers Twitter account, there was DMs coming from them going, oh, we'll help you. We got to do something. We're going to help. We're going to look for it, you know? It's like, okay, now it's on. Then, let me see if I have the other tweet. Well, maybe I don't have the tweet, but I'll just tell you. Josh then tweets out a message a couple days later. Hey, don't worry. Vivian was found, and I had nothing to do with it. You can stop looking. And then he starts...
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then he starts deleting all of his tweets. Like this one right here. This is an archive tweet. This tweet was deleted. Like he starts deleting all of the Hunt for Vivian tweets. And people are like, oh, boy. Oh, boy. I think we know what's going on. So then people start looking more closely at Vivian's photos. And it becomes very clear that there's a complete difference in the face area and the rest of the body. And this Lakers body here, this is clearly a Photoshop photo.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then people start reverse image searching. And you can see here, this bad Photoshop of Vivian. It's actually an Asian women's basketball team. It looks to be from some Asian country. They're all Asian women playing basketball.
Everyone got duped. This could have been easily figured out if someone just kind of zoomed in a little bit a couple months earlier.
I mean, that's when the questions start coming up. So the search for Flores built momentum, but the story soon fell apart. There was a conversation that really started to break this down in Twitter Spaces. Have you ever done Twitter Spaces, Hot Dog?
Is that like oh no, wait, no. I'm thinking about the new story thing. That's like the sound thing, right?
Yeah, it's audio? Like Clubhouse, except on Twitter. Yeah. So
yeah.
They had that, and this guy, It's Kingsborough, was in Twitter Spaces talking about how he had been catfished by the same account, pretending he was Vivian Flores. And you know who entered? Here's why the story started to get so big. You know who entered the Spaces chat and started talking to this person about Vivian?
Who?
Kevin Durant.
God.
Kevin Durant got into the Spaces chat. Here you go.
Man, they was locked in.
Can y'all slow down for a second?
All right, look, bro.
Okay.
All right, so you saying who the hell is Kings?
The nigga right there, Big Kings. You see him on the screen?
They're openly laughing.
Hey, you better not call them Big Kings again, bro.
Bro, that's what it say right there, man. Come on.
So you saying he linked up with a bot?
No, with a nigga.
Bruh, how y'all know for sure it was a guy behind
No one knows,
listen, bro. Look, this how I know it's
Kane's got to tell the story, bro. What made him call it off? That's all.
Hold on, what?
You could see the wave. Like, I don't know. You probably can't see it on the monitor, but you could see the waves going. And, like, the cackling and the laughing, that's Kevin Durant that's laughing at Big King for getting catfished. And he's over here going, like, this is a very obvious catfish. So now it's like, oh, boy. And the blame starts to be pushed. See, Josh Toussaint never actually had told anybody that he had never seen Vivian. Like, that had never come up in conversation, right? So people start going, now that's sus, Hot Dog. That's very, very sus. The fact that
it's very suspicious.
It's
you
so
don't start a podcast with someone like that. You'd meet, you meet him once or something like that. I mean, I guess if it started during COVID, you kind of.
But never video chat. Never video chat. Like, the thing about COVID is everybody got Zoom. So It's even more common. Like, there are interviews now that I would have done, like, for the wrestling podcast. I did plenty of interviews that were just audio, just whatever. Here's my Skype number, call in. Like, now, when somebody's like, well, we'll do it over the phone, I'm like, why? Like, just Zoom in. We can do it on video. It'll be great. Like, it's
not the 1960s where you're just, you got a recorder next to you and just using audio.
I mean, you literally got Zoom.
In.
Yeah. You got Zoom on your phone. You don't even need to, like, you just download the app. The same thing you would use to call. You could just use the app for free. So
Kane zoomed to you on the back of his car. Remember that?
Bro, for an hour. Hour. I talked to Mayor Kane. He just pulled over and he was like, oh, I forgot this was a Zoom thing, but no problem. It's easy. I got Zoom on my phone and I got cell service. So that's when people started being like, okay, we need answers here. We need answers. On Monday, Toussaint said Flores had been found, blah, blah, blah. I already told you about that. The same day on Vivian Flores' account, now it says somebody posted to her account explaining her side of the story. It says, I have people on here that can verify who I am, she said. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. As for me going missing, yes, it happened. I passed out from my treatment. Maybe she was in a fugue state. Hot Dog, you know about those fugue states? Maybe she was naked in a 7-Eleven?
Yeah, just wake up naked at 7-Eleven and they got to call your family. That happens.
Right. Cooking, kidnapped by Mexican meth dealers? What? No, it was a fugue state. So people were like, okay, well then post a video on your Twitter account that shows your name. She goes, no problem, I will. And she posts this video, which you can now see, Hot Dog. There she is. It looks, I mean, it kind of looks like her, not that much like her, but it could be her. And she's holding up that sign. I'll move. It says Vivian right there, right? All right. Case closed. We were wrong. It's not a cat.
How long is that video?
2 seconds. It's 2 seconds. Are you thinking Fiverr, Hot Dog?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty goddamn short. I'm just saying it's really, really short if you're trying to prove that you are who you say you are.
Here's the other issue with it. Vivian is spelled Vivian, and that is Vivien. She spelled the wrong Vivian on the thing.
So it's such a It's such a process to catfish successfully. Like, I don't understand how.
Bro, you also have to understand. She was podcasting.
Yeah.
So now the theories start going crazy because now it's obvious. And after this thing comes out and they're like, but bro, could you spell your name right? To the point where this literally happened. This was on the Timberwolves official Twitter account. This was, what's his name? Nas Reed, I think his name is. Yeah, Nas Reed. Except he spelled his name R-A-I-D. And they posted it on the official Timberwolves account. Like this is now everywhere. So the fingers start pointing. And this theory develops that some believe that this Toussaint character created Vivian himself and then pitched up his voice in the podcast. You see what I'm saying? So he actually edited his second voice in. And there was some compelling audio. There was some compelling audio, which I don't think I have, but I heard it before, where somebody clipped out the podcast. And it's almost insulting because it's just this one little clip. I'd never heard the podcast before. But it was a fairly corny joke told by Josh, and then perfectly aligned a pitched up ha 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 ha. And you're like, nobody would laugh at that joke like that. So people started saying you were editing a girl's voice to laugh at your own jokes, bro.
Do you want me to send it to you? I think I have that. Hold on.
Can you just play it from your speakers or something?
Let's see.
Yeah, see if you can play it from your speakers. Because it's definitely the clip that's on Twitter if it's there. You have it?
Let me turn this off. All right, let me play it.
All right.
A little bit.
Obviously, they not wins that we won against teams like the contenders, and obviously the teams that are, I think they are below 500, if I'm not mistaken. Both teams are below 500, I think. Yeah. So.
No, that I'm guessing that's.
Oh yeah, that's different audio. Okay, I have that audio. We can play a better version of it because now people are really hunting. This is they changed her voice, like they pitched down her voice.
Right. Yeah.
So they could try to see if it sounded like a dude. This is what they got.
Obviously, they not wins that we won against teams like the contenders, and obviously the teams that are, I think they are below 500, if I'm not mistaken. Both teams are below 500. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yeah. So
it doesn't sound like it's Josh Toussaint to me redoing the voice, because it almost sounds like she has a bit of an accent there. Like it sounds like it definitely could be a guy trying to talk like a girl who like modulated his voice maybe, but it doesn't sound like it's actually Josh doubling up his voice. Now that doesn't mean that Josh didn't know about it. It doesn't mean that Josh did know about it either. You know, it's just part of the mystery. It's one thing or the other. Josh,
why would he started the story technically, didn't he? Why would he spark this whole thing?
Well, I mean, why would she, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, unless neither of them thought that it would get as big as it did, maybe they just were tired of doing the podcast and they were going to write her off, like have her go missing. You know, like YouTubers, I don't think they do it as much anymore, but they used to do that, like vloggers who, you know, were like not being clear that they were just making videos for entertainment purposes, would just create reasons that they would disappear from the face of the earth. And then people would like react like somebody actually did disappear from the face of the earth, and they would have to come out and be like, no, it wasn't. Like the Lonely Girl 15 or whatever. You know, that was like the first one where you found out it was literally Hollywood writers that had written a series for YouTube. And they ended up coming clean, going like, it wasn't meant to trick everybody necessarily. It was just meant to be, this is the medium we were working in. Look, I mean, it's also, if you're going to be a catfish, announcing from the beginning that you have cancer is definitely the way to go. Because
that's starting strong.
Not only is it starting strong, but nobody's going to question your weirdness, because it's like, what's your problem? I have cancer. Like, you think I have to deal with this? I have leukemia. I can't deal with you. Now, you're going to question me while I have leukemia, and you're like, I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to. No, you're right.
Can I FaceTime you? Can I zoom in? Can I see your face? Dude, I got cancer. No.
Like, I'm so stressed out from my leukemia. Now you want to FaceTime me?
No, it's okay. All right, never mind. I'm an asshole.
Like, how long, Hot Dog, seriously, if you met a girl online that had, like, Vivian, if you could ignore, like, Vivian, she's a very cute girl. She loves the Lakers.
The video is cute.
Right, and she loves the Lakers, and you love the Lakers. I really think that Vivian I think that she could do a podcast with you. I think she could get you going just as long as she had Josh Toussaint and Kingsborough.
If it was a Final Fantasy podcast and I had a Vivian who had cancer and couldn't call or anything like that, she could take me on for a ride.
Yeah. And Travis and me would be texting you going like, bro, this is not a real person. What are you talking about? And you're like, no, the cancer's getting worse. I don't know. She's getting sicker. And I'm like, yeah. So she can make it easy to mosey on off into the distance. So like, because that's the other thing. You develop the cancer because not only will people feel sorry for you, not only will people question you less, but you've got an end game. You don't have to sit there and be like, what am I just going to do this forever? At some point, this weirdo character that you've created can just die of cancer. Isn't that what happened to like Manti Te'o? Didn't he get catfished by a person who pretended to die and then he like dedicated a game to her or something?
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it. If you're going to catfish, you got to set an end game. And I mean, at this point, it used to be you could catfish and be like, oh, yeah, but, just so you know, in 6 months, my family is going to make me move to a different country. And then you spend the 6 months, go, oh, I hope they don't. Here's some money. And then you move to the other country and never talk to them again. But now you can't do that anymore. Technology doesn't allow us to realistically believe. You can't communicate with me from a different country? No, we're going to North Korea. What? North Korea?
Here, send me an Apple Pay for my cancer, please.
Right. So it's like if it's cancer, I need some money. Like I'll be there for the podcast, but man, I gotta pay for this treatment real quick. This is tough. No, okay. You said we're gonna make money from the podcast eventually, right? I'm sure of it. Well, then can I just get an advance? Just consider it an advance. Once we get paid for the podcast, you could take it out of that. All right, I'll do it.
You don't want me to die, do you?
No. Podcast's going really well. You're a really special person. I mean, out here working Ice Cube's son. Ice Cube had to be very disappointed in his kid. Come on, man. I raised you better than that.
Gullible.
Did you see him on the Triller pay-per-view? Still looking cool. Ice Cube's still the man. I mean, I don't know. He gets into some weird stuff, but when it's just his songs, he's the man.
Just ignore everything else. I mean, at what point, Sam, what are the telltale signs of you getting catfished? Immediately.
Well, I think that, like, I get it at first. We've all been swept up in that moment of, oh, this is fun and great, and look at how well we get along, and I have this special bond with this person. I have this special
Someone's pretending to be Vince McMahon, for example, and
Well, I'm not going to be like one of those, like, idiot. Like, you hear about those idiot old people that are like, oh, I can't believe, I'm suing because I thought I was sending Bruno Mars $50,000. And you're like, that's your fault. You're an idiot. Like, that's so stupid. No, I don't think, I think it would be very quick. I think like somebody would text me going like, hey, this is Vince McMahon. I'd be like, really? And then I would text like one other person. I'd be like, yo, is this Vince McMahon's number? And they'd be like, no, Sam, it's not. I'd be like, okay, please don't tell anybody I sent this. Please don't tell anybody. Because that's the other thing. Like, when you want to confirm that someone is not a catfish and they are, you don't want that because nobody can keep their mouth shut about that. Sam thought this guy was Vince McMahon. No, I didn't think that. I just wanted to make sure.
Come on, Sam. I got 2 phones, obviously.
No, I don't think that I could get taken for a ride like this for very long. Just because, like, immediately, you just know. Maybe it's because I watch so much 90 Day Fiancé. Maybe it's because I talk to so many people on video chat all the time. That, like, this idea, like, if you're living a life where you can't video chat, but you can use your phone for other things, like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
You don't have the patience for it.
I don't have the patience.
You're a single guy. Let's just say you were single.
Yeah.
And someone tweeted at you or DM'd you, and they want to, you're talking to them on the phone at least, but my camera doesn't work. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, and I even look. This is the other great thing about something called self-awareness. I have never, ever in the history of social media existing gotten a DM from somebody that wanted to have sex with me. It's never happened. Never once. And when I do get a DM on my Instagram and it says, "Hey, honey, looking good," I'm like, this is clearly a scam. Because my self-awareness tells me that, Hato, do you know what the reason is that I have never gotten a DM on any social media platform with somebody that was romantically interested in me? Do you know why that is, Hot Dog?
I mean, I know it's not your vibe, but what's the real reason?
I'm not a physically attractive person. It's not,
okay.
It's just not.
You could have stayed with the first one. It's not your vibe.
What does that mean? I don't like people.
You don't seek it, Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. No, yeah, I'm not out there going for it. But you would think at some point there'd be somebody sending something. It's never happened. And so the minute I would get the DM, I assume it's a catfish from the beginning. I'd be video chatting with them going okay, even when I realized they were a real person and I'm sitting there video chatting with them, I'd be sitting there trying to figure out if anybody's in the background. Who's who's putting you up to this? I'd be sitting there, who do they follow? Who are they friends with? Because they're trying to trick me. They're trying to trick me. They're going to make me say something that they're going to make fun of me for. I'm always prepared for somebody to make fun of me for something. So no, that sort of paranoia would probably stop me from getting super catfished, I think.
Well, I mean, what if you get an unknown number calling you and you pick up?
I don't pick up. I don't pick up an unknown number. What am I, desperate to talk to somebody? I don't pick up when no numbers call me.
But you pick up and it's
who am I, Mike Lindell over here going, the president's on the phone. This is great. I'm talking to the president. No, if somebody was like, hey, President Donald Trump is on the phone to talk to you, Sam, I would go, I'm going to assume this is fake.
But you never know. You pick up and all of a sudden it's like the Undertaker in his Undertaker voice. And he's like, Sam, I want to be your friend.
I'd be like, well, number one, there is some semblance of that could be true. I mean, Hot Dog, you're one of the few people. You saw the conversations that myself and Taker had before the interview went on, talking about real estate, talking like friends talk, right?
It's normal chit chat with the dead man.
Right. That's awesome. We should put that video out at some point. But that was awesome. But then I'd be like, the fact that he's in character is a head scratcher. The fact that he decided to call up in character makes me suspicious. But we never got a full answer on exactly who Vivian is. The hunt is on. I don't think that it's Josh. Bottom line is, either Josh is in a lose-lose situation. Either he was lying to everybody or he got chumped out this entire time. And by the way, the only reason that a girl like this can get away with co-hosting your podcast and you never have a face-to-face interaction is because you have a little feelings for her. You're a little smitten with her. Josh, I believe, my opinion, I believe Josh was a little bit smitten with her, who he thought she was, and she took him for a ride. I think that it's, which is probably the lesser of two evils, but it might be the more humiliating of two evils. He's not a bad person, but he's kind of a dope. Which I don't know what you'd rather be. Hot Dog, do you have a preference, bad person or dope?
I'd rather be a bad person. People at least take you seriously.
And instead, look what you got stuck with. You're a good guy, Hot Dog. You're not a bad person.
Yeah. I've been called a doofus this week. Just
really?
Random.
Well, whoever said that, smart cookie. Smart, observant person.